Thanks for your feedback. So I just wanted to point out some of the best practices which can help you, work around the limitations that you mentioned. This is a HubSpot input, but you could very well implement the same practices for Salesforce. So let's say you do Salesforce lookup, I'm doing HubSpot lookup, and in this case we are talking about deals. The lookup field would be deal name. Let me log that in. Okay, so lookup value, there are two ways I could do this. One is, directly reference it, and let's say the fields I care about are all of these, right? So you see a number here. Now I'm guessing what you've done is to just drag this across all of these in this manner. What would be more efficient and a sure shot way of not erroring out is to just reference multiple entries here. Let's say 50. Right? So now you see one single formula controls all of these. So as a lookup, it's like a bulk lookup, but within one single formula. And I can explain why this is important because now when we trigger a formula, we are dependent on Google to pass that information to us because as you can see, the sidebar is closed, right? Um, Google has a limitation where only 30 formulas can work at a time. Each of them has to execute within 30 seconds, etc., etc. So if your Salesforce instance were to take more time to process, you'll see a lot of errors coming through. So what I would suggest is one, like if you see here the single quote, double quote, etc., is everything that can be worked around if you choose to reference the cell instead of typing it in. Single quotes, in fact, should still work. So, for example, let's just say I need amount just to see that this works. So single quote still works. Double quote is where it gets tricky, but even within that, as long as you've referenced the cell directly instead of putting in the value within the formula, it should work. So yeah, to your 4 points, like the first one you mentioned was that the single quote is not working. I would urge you to reference it like a formula instead of directly putting it in, and even then it should ideally work, like I just showed you here. The second one is some loading time could take terribly long. Now, in order to make it efficient, you could even let me see how many I have here. 208, right? And I can do a demo of. And this is like a lot more efficient than to drag this across 208 cells because then Google treats each formula separately. You see how quickly this loaded, and this is all live. I'm not going to crop this video or anything. The third one is when yeah, this is a problem. So when you open the document, Google tries to keep the data fresh. So it will run the formulas very likely. But the good news is if you optimize it in this manner, then within 3 to 4 seconds, at least in my formula, and in your case, within 30 seconds at max, all the values should be filled in. It's only a problem when you have like, you've dragged it across hundreds of rows, like one single formula, and then that takes really long to reference. Yeah, the final suggestion that you had around, you know, being able to do an approximate match versus the exact match like lookups do, or rather like we lookup X lookup do. Yeah, thanks for that. We'll factor that in, when we do the next round of feature build up for formulas. But for now, I really hope this helps address some of the concerns that you had. Thank you.